Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Cyber. My name is Brandon Krieger. I'm a cybersecurity account executive with a7a. Today, what we're going to be talking about is basically anything cybersecurity and basically AMA. Ask me anything. All right, studying what you guys are working on right now, personal development, different challenges you guys are working through. Ask me anything. Just let me know what you guys want to talk about. I have a wealth of background in different areas and different knowledges. So today is really going to be about that. It's really going to be about looking at different aspects of cybersecurity, life in general, and really just kind of getting at it. So grab a drink, get comfortable, grab a coffee and a tea, and let's hack at it. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, a7a. a7a is a Canadian-based cybersecurity company that provides 24/7 cybersecurity support and compliance service that align their customers' tolerance for risk, their clients, suppliers, and government contractual mandates. a7a's teams focus on using insights to drive business decisions. There's no need to leave strategies to chance, when insights can be used to show what changes need to be made and how to make them. a7a offers multiple services to help companies simplify IT, centralize cybersecurity management, and meet compliance standards. a7a can customize their service to work with your existing IT network and programs. For more information, contact a7a at info@uzado.com or visit their website at www.uzado.com. So guys, we're already starting. I can start to see the questions come in. Keep them coming. I want to do a little housekeeping first. In the actual chat, make sure you ask the questions there. We got our amazing moderator, Sec IT guy. He's going to be helping you guys facilitating the questions. We'll actually have some little teasers there as well if you want to know my socials. I have some education too that we're going to be queuing up a little bit later. Also different areas that, for social media and different marketing, things along that line. So make sure you ask a lot of questions. Just to give you a little update recap, again, if you're new to this is the cyber insecurity network community. We've got a Discord group. Neil Bridges is our kind of founder of who's growing this out. The goal is to really collaborate with security people from high level, senior level people to guys who are breaking the industry, ladies and gentlemen, all right, breaking the industry, and just really kind of bridging that gap and making sure that we have a community that everyone's growing together and we're learning together as a community, because it's a massive, massive industry, small community. Right? And that's why we're going to work together to collaborate and help each other be successful in this industry. And I think the goal is right now is to be mentors for each other. And that's why, a lot of the streamers right now are doing that, just to make sure that we're passing it forward for the guys that helped us as we started out to help you guys and answer the questions that you guys are looking for, and make sure that we give you that, bridge those gaps, help you to troubleshoot different areas in your cybersecurity career, education, challenge you're going through day to day, help you to bridge all those gaps. So then what happens is you can do it faster than we did when we had to literally just, and you think about it, hack the industry, right? And try to break in different ways and different directions and then be able to get in. We're trying to streamline that for you so that you can have a faster way into the industry, have more success. So make sure you ask lots of questions. That's what we're here for. Share this with your friends, your colleagues. Make sure, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I'll get Sec IT guy to make sure they puts the Discord in there that you guys can join the Discord channel and just start chatting and start collaborating. I remember on Tuesday, it was yesterday, we had a person ask that, I'm looking for a community that I can connect with. And we're like, right here, this is the community. Like, these guys are right here. They're helping, they're collaborating. This is the best place right now to get all your cybersecurity needs, your solutions, your questions answered. So please jump in, ask a lot of questions, and let's start to jump in and start to ask, answer some of these questions here. So first one I got is Bundaki, and also Neil Bridges recommended a MacBook Pro with a 16 gigabyte of RAM for pen test. And do you recommend the same? Depends on what you're most comfortable with. You can use a MacBook Pro. I know a lot of pen testers that I've talked to sometimes use MacBook Pros. They're more expensive, right? Again, they're a little bit more durable than I find with like IBM, or you can get Alienware and any of these like gaming PCs and start to do that. I've seen all different pen testers use it. It depends on what you're most comfortable using, because a lot of these guys streamline it. They use different Kali Linux. They might break it down and all of a sudden put a Linux OS on it, and you use Kali Linux to start doing it. They use different tools. So it really comes down to what you're most comfortable with, and then what's in your budget. All right. So kind of look at that when you're looking at a pen testing machine. What's kind of in your budget, and then what's going to be more convenient for you to expand and grow with. Is Usado hiring salespeople? Yes, we are. Go into usado.com. There's actually a career. I think it's careers at usado.com is the website, the career email. Go there, submit your resume. We're always hiring, always looking for people, really amazing people. So yeah, if you're looking for a sales job, just know this: it is a great job, great learning, great organization, but it's sweat equity. You got to really kind of push yourself, and it's good. It's a good team, good people to work with. But again, sales is hard. It's hard right now in this industry because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. So yeah, if you're interested, submit your resume. We're always looking for good people. Which do you prefer, VMware or VMbox, and why? I've used both. The one I kind of used more was VirtualBox, and that was more of the cost, right? So freeware, you're able to kind of play with it. I know with VMware, we were using it at the Ontario government, and of course we had licenses and anything along that line. It's a kind of corporate version, right? And that's kind of what they went with. I find with both of them, they have their pros in the sense of the enterprise environment, and they work. And again, this is one of those ones that it comes down to personal preference. VirtualBox, I find, most people that were using it were kind of guys that were doing more labs and kind of, working at home. I didn't see it too much in the corporate environment on my side. I love to ask the guys in the community, the more senior guys, what do you guys see more? Do you guys see more VMware or VirtualBox? From what I've seen more VMware. And just it's more enterprise level, a little bit more support, where VirtualBox is kind of freeware. It's kind of out there and it's developing. So that's kind of what I've been seeing with that. I'm currently doing my WGU cybersecurity degree. Awesome. We heard a lot about that yesterday. And there's Python, but no PowerShell. Heard about it in last night's stream. Would you recommend learning it as well? And if so, what resources would you recommend? Code Academy is one. If you're trying to look at PowerShell and things along that line, there's a lot of different YouTube videos, free resources along that line. I don't know if INE has a course. I would check that website out as well. INE might have a course. SecIT, let me know if you know if INE does have a course for PowerShell. But there's a lot of great resources. Code Academy is one that I know. I was learning a little bit of Python programming and different things along that line. So check that out. Udemy is a great resource, kind of more cost effective. Depending if you're more of a reader, Safari Books Online is a great resource. I think it's like $39 or $49 a month, and you get a database of books and resources. So depending if you're a reader, you learn by reading. Right, you learn auditorial, you learn kinesthetic, but you have to do, so you watch videos and actually apply. So it depends how you learn. So there's a couple resources that hopefully that helps you out. Brandon, I have both a tech and a sales background. I'm looking to start in sales with cybersecurity company, and as I build my certs, move to testing. Okay, so here's the challenge. If you're jumping from, and we talked a little bit about this last night, if you're going from like sales to tech to like pen testing or cloud security or something along that line, it's a little bit harder. And the reason why it is because the sales guys, as you know, it sounds like, yeah, you have a sales background, is more, business development, understanding sales cycles, understanding the product, but not really talking too much as deep on the technical side, because you got to work through what's the business need, what's the business requirements, what do they need as compliance, what's their clients asking for that company and organization to implement cybersecurity. So there's a lot to concentrate on there. So you to dive deep into like the technical side is a little bit harder, because they only have subject matter experts and they kind of do that. And because of the depth of knowledge that you need to know and study, you generally don't have enough time because you're trying to engage in what's going on in the industry, what's going on with that organization. You're doing a lot of research on that and understanding corporate, dialogue and business requirements and, cost of acquisitions and things along that line, where an IT guy, a technical guy, doesn't have the time for it. Doesn't say that, I'm not saying you can't do it, just it's really hard to have the time for it because, and like Joel, my buddy that I did the CISSP study group yesterday, he's constantly studying technology. And then as he's bridging to the CISSP, he finds the kind of the gaps where he's like, oh, like I wish I knew more of that, or I had more time because my day's all spent with technical. Well, on the reverse side of that, the sales, your sales is all, all negotiation, communication, understanding, discovery, going through that, looking at the client's needs and wants, and then looking at, statements of work and contracts and things like that. So you don't really have the full day to spend on the technology. So you may spend an hour or 2 hours studying at night. So like long to short, story here is that if you're going to go into technology, I would recommend start going into tech roles right from the start, right? SOC roles, things along the line, and build your way up in that way. Now, if you're in sales right now, look at going SME, subject matter expert, and trying to, bridge your gap over that way versus staying directly in sales, because again, it's more challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, just more challenging. Cyber and security. What is the most profitable path in cybersecurity? If you had to make $1 million through working in cybersecurity, what would you do and how long would it take? Okay, so this is my trademark idea. No one else take that. Just want to put this out there. Anything in cybersecurity right now, when you look at AI technology, you look like in encryption, securing Internet of Things, compliance, CMMC is going to be big. Different areas in cybersecurity are multi-million-dollar ideas, right? And I would say multi-million-dollar verticals that you can work in and you can develop in. You can create an idea and a concept and run with it. It's just the one challenge, and I'm going to put my business hat on here. The one challenge is developing something out that you can take to market, and you have the run rate of financial to be able to do that, and then being able to sell it that people will buy it, and then it'll take off, and it's something they need, right? Looking at quantum computers, you can, somehow source a quantum computer in North America right now. That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge if you're able to do that. So here's some ideas that are what you can potentially do. Now, you're asking about time. How long will it take? Any business, realistically, you're looking at 2 to 5 years, right? 1 year of building and developing, if you can do it really well and efficiently, and you have a business sense and a great, strong team, and then 2 to 5 years to ramp that up, right? So that's kind of what you're looking at. And it takes some time. That's putting my business hat on. And I've talked to a lot of successful business people, and the owner of the company, I get to have conversations with him about business. And these are the things, like, you're constantly changing, being dynamic, changing your service, changing your products, the way you're doing things, and keep being successful. So hopefully that answers your question. And I just want to make sure that you understand that it is a sweat equity. You really have to have a love for it, and you really have to have a passion, because being in business is hard. Being in business on your own is hard. It's tough, right? But I mean, when you get through it, you get to the other end, there's rewards, but then you have bigger challenges as an owner of a business, right? So just kind of think about that. Hopefully that answered your question. I have a question. What is the position I should shoot for if I want to skew into reverse engineering? So you want to reverse engineer, and this is a good question. What do you want to reverse engineer? Because you can reverse engineer coding. You can reverse engineer hardware. What do you want to get into? Now, if my recommendation is kind of look at that path of what you want to reverse engineer and go on the one side of actually developing it out. How is that developed? So if it's code, go into coding. How is coding? And then look at, for malware, things along that. How is that malware developed? And then you can kind of look at the, the coding of it, what type of code it's used, anything on that line. And then when you get some sort of malware that comes in and you're checking that out, wants to be reverse engineer malware. So that's what I was wondering. So malware, right? So you want to look at how malware is developed. You want to kind of be very careful. You want to develop your own malware, but you want to kind of look at how software is coded and things along that line. So what happens is when you get it, you can kind of go, okay, how is that implemented? What do they do? How did they code? How does it execute? How does it go on through that path to be able to be exploited certain areas? How is it exfiltrate certain, ports, things along that line? Because then what happens is if you understand the code, you understand what to look for. And then you start to now through experience, you start to break it down. Now, the other thing is I would look at mentors that already do this and then ask them, how do I get this done? Like, how do I go through this? Right. So what do you do in your day-to-day job? How did you get to this point? If I want to be you in 5 years, how do I get to be that point? And then what do I need to do to reverse engineer that and say, you got Python, you get C++, you did this programming, you did that. Okay. And then what did you do to apply that to, reverse engineering malware? And then they'll be able to give you their path and what they did. So that's what I'd recommend there. What skills should I focus on to get into a SOC job? Security plus. One of the things is, a lot of the security analysts, Herjavec Group, I see this quite a bit, understanding a base level of cybersecurity. Security plus, if you can get that certification, that's generally an entry level into a SOC. And then from there, experience. Right. And the more you can do on your own, sweat equity, things along that line, it just shows more that you're able to do the job and have a passion for it. When you do the interviews, prepare for the interviews, make sure you're kind of set that you know how to interview well, you know how to answer the questions, you know what a SOC is, you know what's, a SIM is, event logging, all that. You're going in, you're prepared. What's the day-to-day job? Now, if I were you, I'd go interview someone that's, actually working at a SOC level 1, level 2, level 3 analyst and take notes. Like, what do you do? What do you do day to day? How do you do this? Okay. I don't need specifics in the sense of, any NDA, but do you, when you log in, you log into your monitoring tools. Okay, perfect. And then you're monitoring the SIM. Do you get assigned to clients? Okay, great. How does that work? If there's an escalation, do I need to know ITEL? Like what's the escalation path? How does that work? Do you call them SEV ones, priority ones? So then what happens when you go to the interview? Then you know what they're asking. Kind of go, okay, so I'm going to prepare for this job. Okay, great. So, tell me a scenario when how would you deal with an incident? Well, from my understanding how a SOC works, I would do this. I would log a ticket. I would do this. I do that. And you can walk through the path and make sure it's logged as a priority 1, 2, or 3, depending on the outage. And I would do X, Y, and Z. And they're going to go, okay, this guy has a base knowledge. This guy or girl has a base knowledge, and we're comfortable to work with them and start to, train them up in our system and our solution, right? And then get them up to next level. And then the learning curve in a SOC is very, very high because a lot of these cybersecurity companies, IT companies as well, but cybersecurity companies, from my point of view, they train you. They have a lot of internal training on their systems, their solutions, sometimes even vendor training that you're going to go through. If it's Rapid7, Qualys, QRadar, whatever that may be, they're going to take you through that training. So you're going to know the platforms and what you're dealing with. And then all of a sudden you hit the ground running. And those are great things to put on your resume. So hopefully that answers your question. If I know nothing, well, you know something. Everyone knows something, right? And I want to get started with, what should I start with? I'm doing INE pen testing, but some of the info, I just have no base to start off. Okay, so first and foremost, it's always good to get a base. If you're doing the INE pen testing course, perfect, right? That's a perfect way to start. Start to watch YouTube videos, start to come in here, watch, the pen testing. We have, I think we had last night, we had someone doing pen testing and the basis of pen testing. Come out here and just ask a lot of questions. Go onto different forums. And okay, so guys, I want everyone to take a break for a second and get a piece of paper out, get ready for this. The best way to get prepared in cybersecurity at any level, right, is to ask yourself good questions, right? What do I need to know? How does this work, right? What do I need to know if I'm going to apply this? Asking these good questions before you go into these courses, go on these programs, will get your mindset to look for those answers, right? That's why it's important. It's a key point here and very important is to prep yourself as you're doing this. Right now, I get it. You feel new. You feel like, holy cow, this is like Mount Everest, right? It's a big elephant. How do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. It's kind of that analogy right now. So as you're doing that, take your time, ask yourself good questions, and then go get the answer. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is going to suck. It's going to be the worst thing that everyone's going to hear. You get one answer and you go out there and you're like, oh, I got the answer. And then it's going to open up 10 more questions. And you go get those 10 questions answered. And it's going to go up another 20 questions. And you're going to keep going. You're like, oh my God, I'm just keep growing. Welcome to cybersecurity, and welcome to the evolution of this career and why you would never stop being a student. Right. So you're always going to have this little anxiousness of feeling kind of new because as new things come out, but that's okay. When you look back and go, oh my God, how much do I know? You're going to know so much, and it's just going to keep evolving. Now, don't get me wrong. If you look at this room that I'm in, the amount of information you're going to know in cybersecurity is going to be like this little dot. Right. And then that little dot's going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. Then it's going to shift on you because something's going to come out, machine learning, AI, something like that. And it's going to shift and you're going to have to learn so much more. But that's the joy of this, because the people who you're helping and you're supporting know less than that dot, and they're looking for you for, your expertise and your knowledge. So keep it up. Hopefully that answered your question. Let me know if you have an add-on question to that. Just looking here. INE does have a PowerShell course. So yeah, if you want to check out INE, right, they have a PowerShell course. Again, INE is a great resource. I know right now we're kind of working with them right now with all their programs. So check them out. Again, I gave a lot of different resources depending on your learning style. That's so important. Understanding how you learn, right? I might tell you learn on videos, but maybe you're not someone that does videos. Maybe you're better look at book reading. Right? You like to read, you like to go through it. Here's a little tip, and this is going to kind of piss off SecIT guy, but I want to know, just by a survey, and as SecIT, if you could do a survey for me, how many people like to read, right? Just kind of hit a yes or no, right? That's how you study, right? I just want to know, put a yes in the community. Do you like to read to study, or there's something else? All right. The reason why I put that out is because you got to know the way you retain information. And if you can master that, which I'm doing right now, I'm working on Jim Quick's course, speed reading, quick recall, and quick thinking. The reason why is because, as you guys know, we never stop learning. Articles, white papers, books, resources, exams, certifications. It's just never ending. We're kind of always keep learning, right? So how do we do it better, more efficiently? And that's what I'm working on right now. So that's what I'm trying to work on mastering, because like you guys, I'm trying to learn. I'm a student of this. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'll answer some questions around that. I was looking at here, someone's reading at 900 words per minute. I'm right now at 400 words per minute. So that's kind of the thing. You want to get that speeding, but then you want to have, 100% your retention, and then you want to have recall after short. And one of the secrets to recall, I'll give you guys a little tip here, is you study something immediately, 1 hour after, 1 day after, 1 month after, 6 months after, and then 1 year. If you can do that, by the time you hit 6 months, if you don't know it, then you just go and review it, and then you're going to start remembering. And that's going to get into your long-term memory. So when you're sitting in a meeting, someone goes, hey, so tell me about the TCP/IP protocol, or tell me about that, CMMC, compliance. You're going to be able to go, boom, that's what it is. Versus, hold on a second here. Let me look that up. Google CMMC protocol. What do you need, right? What's the compliance? When you study it that way, you're going to learn it, and you're going to be able to retain it. So keep that in mind as you guys are as you're learning information. And one of the secrets to learning too is do it in chunks, 10 minutes to 20-minute chunks. Don't try to study for 2 hours. Your brain only retains so much information in short chunks, right? 20 minutes chunks, take a break, go for a walk, come back. If you do another 20-minute chunk, and then that's it, right? And then, kind of review. Let's see, next question here. I'm currently an IT specialist for a school district. Our department is pretty flat, so I have a wide experience of tier 1 to 3 support, system admin, MDM. identity access management, I think that's what it is. A hardware, software, deployment, implementation. Do you have a resource that would help describe these skills in a way that could translate to security field? Yes. So what you have to look at is this. You're on, I would call you the blue team side. You're configuring, supporting, making sure everything's running. Now, put on your security hat. How do you harden that? How do you secure that? Each of those, what do you do to harden that? And that's going to be your story that you're telling what you do day to day. Right now, and then if you're not doing it, and that's okay if you're not doing it right now, start going in tomorrow with the mindset now of how do I harden that? What do I need to do the hard? And now start implementing those things for you. So I went in, I looked at, the system I made, I looked at Active Directory. I looked at some security protocols, what things I like, some open holes, some things that need to be hardened. I looked at some vulnerabilities, and then I start to do recommendations, recommendations on what needs to be hardened. The MDM or, access, identity access management, hardware, software deployment, implementation. How do I make sure that the NDM, which is the software deployment, how do I make that sure that's secure, that the image is secure, that we've tested it, we've done all that. And now you're wording your resume and projects you're working on is as you're hardening these things. So now it relates to security. Now you've set it up, but now you've looked at how to harden it. And now because you have one of these jobs that you can put on multiple hats, put on that hat for yourself. Which site is best to learn pen testing? I&E is the best one. Hack the Box. There's lots of them out there. Here, coming here, right? Watching the videos. Those are kind of the ones that are good to start with. I&E has a great course. I'll get Sec IT guy to post it in there. But when you're looking at that, it's a great place to start. Now, depending on your budget too, right? Some people, start with Udemy and things along that line. But I think I&E has actually a good program to start with. Brandon, now that we are into infrastructure, can you briefly tell us the cost difference between having own data center and move it to the cloud? Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. You're looking at having your own infrastructure internally. The difference of that is like you got on-prem solution, you got hardware you have to maintain, you have to have licenses, you have to have service agreements, you have to have service licenses and maintenance, right? You have to have resources and staff that are able to maintain multiple. You have to have backups, redundancies, things along that line. Those costs associated generally get transferred to having like a cloud, type solution, right? Where happens is a lot of that cost gets implemented. Now, don't get me wrong. Then you look at storage. Like a lot of times you buy your own hard drives and you maintain that and you have redundancies and failovers because you have your own data center. But then what happens when you go to cloud, it's a progressive model. As you need more space, you start to pay for more. So that's kind of the difference as you look at right there. You also look at, don't forget, like, the portability, uptime, SLA, and the biggest consideration. So yeah, you look at, 99.99% uptime. Now, depending on the organization, right? Some organizations have a great data center internally, and they've done a lot of work to manage it, but the cost of that to do that, and then the support, where you have like Amazon has a team of people, has multiple locations, right? Where they're looking at the SLA and uptime, that there's failover into locations too, right? So one data center, knock on wood, if it does fail, there's a failover to a completely different location that you're able to work with. So there's all these things that you're looking at right now when it comes to accessibility. You look at the CIA, confidentiality, data integrity, and availability, right? So when you're looking at that, you're kind of looking at putting in your security hat. Those are the things you're kind of looking at. And then you're looking at the cost, right? What's more cost effective, right? Do you have the resources to be able to do that? Or do you have a resource that's available that you can streamline your team and now they're only managing a cloud, solution versus they're managing a whole data center, right? And then Joel and I talked about, even with the data center, there's a lot to think about. Like if you don't run your own security, fire hazards, physical security, data security, encryption, like all these things you have to think about. Where when you're in a cloud solution, a lot of it's considered shared responsibility. So you're working with a cloud provider to collaborate on what is being secured and how it's being protected. So even the physical security, you don't have to look after if you're in Amazon or Oracle or Microsoft Cloud, they're looking after the physical security. So there's a lot of things that are balanced out there. But yeah, make sure you evaluate and assess that. So it's very important. I'm new to cybersecurity. Where to find information about different routes in cybersecurity field? What I would do is, one thing to do is you even grab the cybersecurity, like the Security Plus book. Look on job sites. I'm trying to think if there's an actual map. Now, CompTIA, I think, has one. I don't know if INE has one, but I know CompTIA has kind of a career path. You know, if you want to kind of look at different career paths in the cybersecurity field, those are good sites and good resources to take a look. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if SANS has one too. They might have one, but yeah, I know CompTIA, when I was starting to look into cybersecurity, CompTIA was a good one just to kind of get like basic resources information. Can you talk about the article you shared on how SMS are not secure? Okay. When you're looking at SMS, a lot of times that, like, different solutions right now, and like you got like WhatsApp and all these different tools that you're doing. A lot of times when you're looking at that, the different solutions. Now, I'm just going to pick on iPhone for a little bit. If you have like an iPhone and maybe you have you've jailbroke it or something along that line, you might have code on your phone that's reading different things. You see this like a lot of policies and procedures where it says like, or the terms of service, where basically it says we have access to everything on your phone, right? Contacts, photos, whatever that may be. Well, some of them are actually reading your messages too, right? So you're looking at that type of security. Then you're looking at like code that's actually vulnerable, third-party code. Source Defense is a good website when you're looking at auditing plugins, widgets, and things along that line when it comes to websites. But you also have to look at the different code that is installed on your phone from different applications. Now, Apple's trying to get better. They're not perfect. They're trying to get better. But there's a lot of these applications on the phones that they are able to compromise the phone, or at least the privacy. It's not hacking the phone necessarily, but it's the privacy of the phone. And all this data that you're looking at is actually getting out there, right? And it can be shared. It can be anything along that line. Your SMS and your text messages are being shared out. So a lot of stuff you're thinking, oh, hey, I'm going to send this secure message. Potentially it might not be, right? So one of the companies I'm actually starting to collaborate with right now, CWS, is actually now looking at quantum resilient encryption to be one of the highest level encryptions, so that SMS, data, communication is all secure. So something that we're all looking at right now is data security and security end to end, right? At rest and in motion. So hopefully that answers your question. Brandon, on making $1 million line, how is comp in the sales side? Oh, so how's the composition on the sales side? Okay, so depending on the business that you're working for now, you're talking about like my sales job. Do I make $1 million? Not even close, right? There's possibility like guys that do it, like we want to talk about Robert Herjavec and those guys. Now that comes down to, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, it comes down to relationships. The better relationships that you have in the bigger, clients, the more you can start to hit those, 7-figure, or even more kind of, dollars. What happens with that is because they have great relationships with large organizations that buy quite a bit of product or service, consulting fees, or anything along that line. With sales, I mean, it's a hustle. It's a hustle to kind of get up there, especially because of the pandemic. Normally with sales and things along that line, it's a grind, but it's a relationship market. But with the pandemic and everything that's going on and the market changing and how people are selling, it's a dynamic industry. You have to keep pivoting. You have to keep changing, because right now, and I had a conversation with a financial sales guy, and he was selling like stocks and, investments and things like that. Well, these guys are flooding the market right now. So I'm getting calls from different banks and different, financial advisors and all that. Roughly 5, maybe 10 a day, right, are calling me from different organizations, and they're just flooding the market. Well, no different from cybersecurity, where I'm talking to people and they're saying like, okay, like what? What do you want? Right? Well, sorry, it sounds like I've upset you, or it sounds like, you're having a rough day. Well, no, you're not the first cybersecurity guy that's called me, and the sales guys call me. Like, what do you want? So trying to get rapport, trying to get a relationship right now is a little bit more challenging than it was before, because a lot of times you go to networking events, You go to a conference, you go to a networking event, you go to a social event, and you build up some rapport and you build up relationship, and then you start talking after. Where now it's strictly, potentially if you can network online, webinars, things along that line, potentially maybe some groups, hopefully, but then it's completely like outreach. It's cold calling and kind of getting out there. So it's a grind. It's a grind to get out there. But if you love sales, you love the hustle, it's worth it. What's the percentage of jobs roughly offensive versus defensive security? Good question. I actually don't know that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know stats on that. All I know right now, it is a massive industry on both sides, offensive and defensive. The jobs out there, I mean, go to any job site, you're going to see massive amounts of jobs fluctuating because right now there's a shortage in great resources. So the better you guys can get in your skills, the more you guys can get opportunities out there. In my opinion, be honest. What is the Sec Plus still a DoD requirement? Cert? No offense. So what they do is it's just a base, right? It's a base. And think about this with any certification. Let's call a spade. And I told you, I'm going to tell you the truth about cybersecurity, right? That's why I'm here. What it really is that people kind of go, this. If I go to you and I say, hey, I need to go to a doctor, you have a base, respect for me that at least I should know this. Security Plus is that. They go, at least you passed the exam. You hopefully didn't brain dump it. You studied, you know the information. So you should at least be at this level. So now if we're going to take you in, we're going to confirm that. But then we're going to start now teaching you more advanced things because it's going to be faster and easier for us to do that versus going, do you know what a phishing attack is? Do you know what malware is? And they're like, I don't know. I have no clue. Right. And they're like, oh my God. Okay. It's not, I don't have time to do this. And think of it like a managerial role. They want to be as efficient as possible to train someone up, get them working so the manager can start working on other things and that person can do their job. So that's why any of these exams, any of these certifications, it's a base, right? It's a base from what you're going to learn, and then you're going to evolve in the organization to learn more and to specialize and master that. So that's kind of the why the Security Plus is still a DoD requirement. It's a requirement for SOC, some entry-level SOC positions. That's why you see that. I feel in my cybersecurity, I feel like I'm cybersecurity. You have to be curious and trying to think outside the box, learn new things every day. Then you'll be improving more and more. Yes. You constantly have to be curious. So one way, not the only way, but one way to fail in cybersecurity is you say, I've made it. I'm done. I've got everything. I'm an expert in the field. As soon as you have that mentality, you're going to fail at cybersecurity. You have to kind of go, great. I've got to this point. What am I going to learn next? What am I going to evolve? What am I going to develop? That's going to keep you growing. The most success in this business, in this industry, is having that mindset and always being curious. If you can be curious constantly, that's going to keep you growing. That's going to keep you in the cybersecurity space, and it's going to keep you interested. And then it's going to be interesting for other people. Because when they hear that you're working on that next thing, they're going to go, so what is that? Tell me a little bit about that. How does it work? How does it relate? And now they're going to learn from you, and you're going to teach them as you're learning. So this is this evolution of like almost called ping pong. All of a sudden someone's going to be a little bit more advanced than you, and you're going to learn from them. And then you're going to work on something a little bit different, and they're going to go, oh, what are you working on? I'm going to learn from you. And it's just back and forth, right? And you just keep evolving, right? You're always going to be in that evolution. And if you can do that, you have a long career in cybersecurity. Hot take. Do I start OSCP or pay somebody to help me launch a product I've been working on? That really is personal choice, right? If you're working on a product and it's come to launch so I'm going to put my business hat on here. If you've been working on a project and you have someone that's going to buy it, here's the key for business 101. The difference between a business and a hobby. A business, someone gives you $1. A hobby is something you do on the side and you do it for fun. That's business 101. I learned that from my marketing days and owning a marketing company for 10 years. And someone told me that. And when I first opened my marketing company, and I was like, no, that's not true. And then I realized how I struggled in not making money and giving people a lot of things for free and consulting. And then I realized They were completely right. I had to make sure that when I was working with them, there was an exchange of energy, of money, because then it became a business. And then I had to look at my overhead and the costs and, profit and loss and operations and things along that line. And it just became a point where I realized very quickly, if I was going to launch a product like you're thinking about doing, start getting people that are interested, start getting, pre-sales, start getting do all that, and then you're going to know, is this going to be a hobby or is this a real business that people are going to start to kind of buy into, and they're going to look at you starting to be a real business and a product they want to do. So really think about that. Oh, I've been sitting here all day. This is pretty cool, right? And I love helping you guys. So keep the questions coming. If a company has both junior and regular pen testing positions, generally, what's the difference in tasks between those two positions? Two things. One, junior to pen testing generally is the complexity of the pen test. Second is the relationship with the client. Generally, you'll find the senior level, the regular pen tester, have a better way of explaining to the clients what they've done, what's the remediation steps, and what the client needs to do moving forward. That's generally what you see as the secret from the progression, is the technical skills to be able to pen test and the different things that they're able to compromise and breach. And then the relationship and how they are able to articulate what they've done to the client in very simplistic terms. So the client can kind of go, got it. That's what happened. And holy crap, I can't believe you got in. What do we need to do? How do we remediate this? What's our roadmap? And if you can do that, that's the path to getting to that next level, right? It's not just the technical skills, it's both the technical and the soft skills of communication. Reading is good, but from a detective's point of view, it's a combination of reading, theory, hands-on practice that gives the great recall. Okay, so one thing that gives recall is repetition, right? Repetition, right? And one of the things that I'm learning from some of these courses, and let me put it first here, I'm not disagreeing with you. Hands-on, tactile, kind of be able to do this, but if you're reading, one of the things is applying it 3 times. So here's a secret. Again, guys, get your notebooks out, write this out. First thing to do, if you're reading a technical chapter, scan the chapter once, looking for the pictures, and just look at the pictures. Second, look for the vocabulary, words you do not know, right? Go and write them in your notes. Write them in your notes as you're studying. And then third, read the chapter. What happens is when you look at the pictures first, it's going to make you curious. What are those pictures? What do they mean? What's the background of them? What's that in context, right? Second, you're going to look at the vocabulary and you're going to learn all the new words that are coming out of that chapter, right? And you're going to go, okay, what does that mean in context of this chapter, right? Third is you're actually, sorry, hold on. Scratch out 3. 4 is ask yourself good questions. So you've scanned the chapter, you kind of do that. What's this chapter? What is this chapter? What am I going to learn from it? What does these things mean? How am I going to use this? Right? And then come up with 5 to 9 questions. And then from there, then read the chapter. So I'm going to recap. 1, review the images. 2, look over vocabulary. 3, what you're going to do is ask yourself good questions, write down questions before you do that. You review that, the actual chapter. And then the 4th one is actually read the chapter. Right now, if you look at that, you've actually gone through the chapter 4 times. Now you've gone through the first couple times quickly, right? The first 2 you've gone through quickly. The third one, right? You're getting questions because you're getting your mind curious and setting up to ask questions and be very specific on what you're looking for. And the 4th one, you're now reading. So think about how focused you are now on reading that. If you have good questions, you're literally going, okay, I saw that picture. I want to know what that means. Now you're completely focused on that, right? And your mind's going to be focused on that. So hopefully that helps to a better way of studying. Not saying it's perfect, not saying it's the only way, but I'm just giving you advice on things that I'm learning, which I wish I learned in school, when I was studying, and now I'm applying it now as I'm studying, and I'm seeing great results from it. Brandon, separate question, EWPT or ECPPT version 2 pulls up. Let me know the actual the poll numbers from that sec IT. I like to know that. To be honest with you, I'd have to actually look that up for myself. Question: do you use certain personalities, personal traits learn more to red or blue team? I wouldn't say necessary personality or personality traits. I would say it's curiosity. Now, don't get me wrong, like, and social people. Now, I'll kind of give you traits, some simple traits here. You have an analytical, type person. You have assertive type person, and say you have an accommodator. I'm just using those three as just simple ones right now. Accommodator is more social, outgoing, someone you kind of see at a party, kind of hanging out, drinking, have some fun. Assertive guy is kind of the ones just to the point. Don't really have much patience. Let's get it done. The analytical guys, right? The ones that are, facts, figures, numbers. Those guys will probably be a little bit more on any technical role because they want to figure it out. They want to learn it, right? Assertive guys really don't have time. Accommodators want to have fun with the other guys, right? They want to kind of socialize. So if you're looking at personality traits, and no, don't get me wrong, these are not break all, one person's one person's the other. Sometimes they're scenario based. Some days you'll be assertive. Some days you'll be more accommodating. Some days you'll be more analytical. Depends on the scenario you are. But when you're looking at the roles, the technical people normally lead down to more analytical type people because they want to figure things out. They want to see how things work, right? They kind of go through then they want to understand the process and the numbers, the facts, the figures, and they want to kind of break it and put it back together. But on both sides, blue and red team, right? I would just look at this way for you when you're looking at blue and red. What makes you more interested, right? Do you like setting things up, or do you like breaking things down, right? Do you like taking them apart? It's as easy as that, right? Do you like the challenge of seeing how you can get in? Do you like criminal shows and see how things do it? Or do you like kind of building shows, things that are building things up, like houses and renovations and things like that? Or do you like things that, where more detective, where you have to figure things out and how to get in? So thinking along that line, let me know what you think about that for yourself. What are some home lab essentials for beginners? One, have a good, PC or even Mac, whatever that may be, set up on like a VMware, VirtualBox, anything along that line. Get a couple resources too, and books, videos, things like that you can kind of play along with, and then do the labs, and then like do courses like I&E. Right? Those are kind of some good things to start out with, and then just have like different resources. Sometimes you'll have to have and from when I was trying to start to get into pen testing, you had to have different, systems, right? Because you wanted to see if you can compromise other systems, right? And sometimes you'll take them down. Have cheaper systems too, because if you do anything that is, say, out of the norm and you break the box or whatever, that you can fix it easily. You can take it apart. Right, some of the older machines, you can do that. You can take it apart, replace the RAM, replace anything like that, just in case you had to. Right. Look at the poll results here. 50% prefer to read. 50% select other. No one choice video or PowerPoint. So yeah, it's interesting. You kind of got a 50-50 split here. So you have auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Some people like to read. Right? Some people are auditorial. They like to listen to podcasts and all that. Some people are kinesthetic. They have to touch it and do it and feel it. So however you learn, right, that's the best way to figure that out for you and what you should be, applying. What books do you recommend? Good question. Now, are we talking personal development? Are we talking cybersecurity? Cybersecurity, there's just too many to recommend. I mean, to be honest with you. I know for me, I was going with the all-in-one books for the CISSP and kind of those ones because Sean Harris was an amazing cybersecurity professional, and just her writing was really good in connecting. There's the Cybex books. They're great. There's for hacking. I'm just looking at there's the playbook ones. So there's a lot of great resources depending on which resource you specifically are asking about. Let me look here. Hey, I currently watching Cyber Mentor 15 hours ethical hacking course. Is this good for a beginner? Any course is good for a beginner, right? Some of them are going to be a little bit more advanced, but they're going to push you. They're going to push you to be better, right? And then you might have to go through it again and again and again. But again, I mean, you're just going to learn. Wherever you start, just think of it this way. Take it in chunks, take it in bite sides. If you don't understand, ask lots of questions or take a break and then go back. Wherever you start, I mean, that's going to be a great place. But just if you're starting to get too overwhelmed, then you might have to take a step back and kind of go, okay, what do I need to know about ethical hacking? What do I need to know about, the systems, the solutions, the technologies, the software? Do I need to know a little bit of scripting, things along that line? See where your gaps are, and then start kind of filling those gaps for yourself. And I would actually make it almost like a to-do list. Okay, yeah, scripting. They keep talking about scripting. I have no clue what scripting. So what's the fastest way I can learn scripting? Python programming. Check, Python programming. I got to go to Code Academy and start learning Python programming, or grab a book on Python programming. And then, okay, I filled that gap. What's the next gap? And you just keep going. All right, this is the evolution. This is when you're self-studying now. Courses like INE and things like that, I think they have kind of a path you can take, and they'll walk you through that. Can you elaborate on Purple Team? What to do? Okay, so my understanding of Purple Team, from what I see, so there's different types of testing, right, and how it's applied, right? Purple Team testing is live testing with the actual blue team, right? And that's the corporation, the clients you're working with, and it's real time. So as you're doing the pen testers are doing their actual engagement, they're testing and they're educating the actual client on what they're doing and how to remediate in real time. And there's this real time discussion, right? And then what happens is most companies that do it, it's a little bit more expensive for clients because, again, it's full engagement, where any type of red team testing or a pen testing team, if it's, white hat, black hat, gray hat, where they know the environment completely in, white hat, gray hat, they kind of know the environment a little bit, black hat, they know nothing about the environment. They just want them to go to town. Depending on where that is on that level is also incorporated on the rules of engagement of what they want the team to do in real time. So when you get the rules of engagement of what they're going to do, that team is going to test. And sometimes what you get with pen testing teams, they have to do it after hours. They have to do it on weekends. They have to make sure that they're not affecting, the actual production environment and real environment, because if they ever did something and something went down, they could take the organization, the company down, right? So what they have to do is they have to make sure they do it on off hours. But in a Purple Team test, they schedule that time that the team's there on the other side. So one, they can look at what's happening, if they can detect the actual engagement. And two, if they can't, the pen testers are telling them, hey, I'm doing this. This is what you need to look for. This is what you need to fix, right? And they're doing this in real time. What does the Purple Team look like in terms of career path and day-to-day activities? The only difference that I saw so far in my career is the pen testers are just, like I said, Purple Team are real live engagement. What you have to look for is companies that offer that, right? Companies that offer that Purple Team, and then go into looking at if they're hiring for someone. Now, that's if you have pen testing, though, and I want to do a caveat. If you're looking at getting into pen testing, first get into pen testing, get into the career, start to work your way through that, and then start to look for companies that offer Purple Team testing, right? And then see if you can get on that team, right? And then here's that, and kind of go back into the original question is, okay, junior to more of the advanced pen tester, senior level pen tester. Remember, Purple Team testers have to be able to engage with the client real time. So your level of communication has to be high. You'll have to be able to engage the client. You have to be able to be supportive, educational, help them through that process, help them understand what's going on. You have to be collaborative. You can't be a very technical, ego-driven kind of guy. Well, this is how it is, and it doesn't matter. I'm telling you this is right. You kind of have that collaborative. Well, just to let you know, John, this is how we're getting in. I'd recommend you look at fixing this. Right? These are the areas that we're breaching right now. As we can compromise, we got through this port. This port's actually open, or we got through the software. If there's a back-end code. This is how we've been be able to exfiltrate this kind of solution or system. And you have to be able to be supportive, right? And I've seen some with technical guys, not you guys, but I've seen on the street where egos get in the way, right? Well, you should know better. You're the client, why did you guys develop this properly, right? And you can kind of see the egos start to get up. So when you're getting to the Purple Team, make sure that you work on your communication skills and you work on your support on how to support your clients. Cisco security outcome study shows a very strong correlation between software currency and cyber program success. So why is keeping software current so difficult in most enterprise? And what do we do as practitioners to ensure software currency is at the top of management's priorities? Okay, so patch management, right? Patch management is one, right? Looking at software life cycles, two. Looking at the actual budget for the organization, resources, projects. All these are factors into looking at why software has not been properly managed or managed in real time, right? In the sense of you got, patches coming out, security patches coming out, have to be tested, right? You have to go through change management, right? Run into ITEL or some sort of change management when you actually deploy patches. When you do that, what happens is you have to make sure you do it on off hours, and you have to make sure you do it in a test environment, make sure that you're not taking the system down, because if there's anything that happens, you have to have a rollout or a backup plan, right? And you roll it back into your previous, version so that you can get back up and going and then test it again. So all these things that you're looking for are so important when you're looking at, patch management, you're looking at these types of solutions, and you're looking at keeping the software. Organizations have such a hard time because they have so many different projects, so many moving parts. They have to take their time through that. The bigger the client, and think about it this way. This was an analogy that I was told when I was, in cybersecurity and IT for the Ontario government too. Well, not cybersecurity, but IT for the Ontario government. You've got the difference between a small little dinghy boat versus the big Titanic massive ship. How hard is it to move the dinghy, and how hard is it to move the big Titanic ship? Well, moving the Titanic ship, it's hard to pivot and move, right? No different from bigger organizations. There's a lot of processes, a lot of things that you have to go through. Versus if you have a small company, right? 5 people, 10 people, easy to manage the software a lot better. So as practitioners now, what you have to do is your goal is to do your best of education, awareness, making sure you understand what patches and things are coming out, testing, running through your protocols and processes, make sure that they're up to date, educating the team, why essential of the vulnerabilities, risk associated, risk to the business. Change will happen faster when they understand, how much risk is associated to it. And I'll give an example. Say they're in unicorns, and I don't want to throw any industry out. Say they're in unicorn development, right? This company is unicorn development. They have a lot of different organizations in unicorn development, right? And then what happens is you're starting to see ransomware happen on other unicorn companies. Well, if you go to the organization and say, okay, hold on, we're noticing that these other unicorn companies are being compromised, right? The potential loss of revenue is now $100,000 plus remediation is now another $250,000. So right now it's, $350,000 of loss. And the patch is only going to cost us $20,000 to do. We need to get this done. Speaking that language, they're going to go fix that. Now the losses could be higher, right? But if you come up with that, proposal and education, you're going to get, your patch management moving faster. So hopefully that answers questions. It's kind of a long answer, but I wanted to make sure everything was answered. Do you think it's worth focusing on becoming more the proficient in a specific focus when first getting into cybersecurity, InfoSec? I've considered learning everything I can about web application, pen testing, and Active Directory. They're all actually fairly related, which is good. Application and web application security, pen testing. I mean, those are good correlations. There's a lot to learn about pen testing, different types of pen testing, IoT devices, external application, things along that line, Active Directory. I would say this, and I heard Joel talking about this last night, and I kind of agree. Try to get into, if you're not right now, if you're into blue team, any type of organization like that, learn how to set these things up first, and then it'll be easier to get into the pen testing role. So think of Active Directory and a web application as kind of your starting point. And then what happens is now you can pen test those later. You can come back from the other side and pen test them because you know what's not set up, what's not configured, how to compromise them. Just gonna think here. That's awesome. Thanks for the sales information. I cut my teeth at Millennium Brothers on the phones. So good. Yeah, you're into cold calling, right? Which is good. Good experience, good knowledge. But yeah, again, depending on what you want to do. And I remember, I think you were talking about, different directions in security. try to get into them like subject matter expert and kind of go that direction. It's a massive career. It's awesome to be in it. What do you think about Pen Testing Plus? It's not a bad certification. Again, depending on what you want to get, it's more introduction informative. I&E, these types of courses are going to be a lot better to give you hands-on, real world, get you into the career faster. Brennan, hope you're well. Trying to have a total career change from scratch to move into cybersecurity from a non-IT background. Doing a Google professional system admin cert, learning Python, and starting THM at the moment. What would you say the next aim should be to make to move into the sector career-wise? Starting out at entry-level system admin job, developing cyber skills as I go. I like to eventually get into pen testing. I would try to go in for a SOC. I would try to go into a SOC role. If you're going to go directly into cybersecurity, try to get into a SOC role, right? Because that's going to give you the introduction on what breaches are happening, what compromises are happening, how they're happening. So it's kind of going to give you that insider information of kind of like how our company's getting breached. From there, you're going to kind of go, okay, at home, your home labs and doing all this, then you're going to start practicing your pen testing. And then what happens is, because the knowledge that you're getting, how companies are getting breached and the alerts and the, how the remediation actions, then you're going to be able to go and now do the pen testing against those. And it's going to give you a lot more knowledge. So that's my recommendation. Grab a Security Plus, get out there, start getting into the industry, and then start working your way up. Now, if you want, some people have gone the blue team type way and gone to system in IT roles and then worked their way through. My recommendation, it's up to you, is I'd probably go the SOC role first and just kind of get in there. Top of the hour. When is a penetration testing good enough? They're always just good enough. And the reason why that is, and let's be honest here, companies are always changing. Companies are always modifying, changing their environment. Things are happening there. So then what happens is, as they're changing, the environment changes. Potential vulnerabilities open up. Things might not be secure. So you're always having to test. You're always having to monitor. So companies use like SOCs, like security event management systems. It's an event management systems to be able to monitor the environment to see if anything's starting to be attacked, right? So they have to look at that closing up, and they have that 24/7 monitoring. Vulnerability scanning that's going on, right? They're scanning the environment to see if there's any potential vulnerabilities that can be compromised. So a lot of these things you're looking for that should be tested after launch. So if they're doing development, they're doing change management, there should be a pen test done. If not, should be at least every 6 months to 1 year. But yeah, pen testing, like I said, should be an ongoing thing. How much try hack me, hack the box, range force, I&E, etc. I need for someone without an IT background to be taken serious for entry level SOC 1 or junior pen testing. Okay, so I'm trying to understand your question here. Are you asking which ones though are best for you? Because you don't have an IT background, you want to be taken serious in entry level SOC 1. So any of those, like I would grab like all of them are great. Try to hack the box, try hack me, hack the box, all that. I&E is great. If you're actually a SOC 1 analyst, I would say right now, look at the knowledge, right, that you're doing. Like if you're take me serious as an entry level SOC. So I want to confirm, if you're a SOC 1 analyst right now, then you're in a great position. I would actually learn as much as you can as a SOC 1 analyst, like I just said, about the breaches, about the compromise, what's being logged, what's being event, and then go home and practice the other side, how that's being hacked. Now you can go try to hack me, hack the box, practice it, because that's going to give you the skill set now to bridge that gap. That now when someone says, "Can you pen test this?" You can go, "Yeah, I can do this. I understand that," and that's going to give you that sweat equity, and that's going to get you from the junior pen tester to more of a senior. I have no IT background. How do I get the foot in the door? Okay, so if you want to become a SOC 1 analyst, right, again, Security Plus is a good entry point to get in, right? Get in the door, start getting interviews, get in there. Interview those guys that are part of a SOC and try to find out what they do day in and day out and get yourself in the door, right? From there, what happens is, because you got Security Plus, you have a base knowledge, a lot of the companies now, because you have that eagerness, that drive, they'll actually teach you and train you to get you up to day-to-day action. And then now you just evolve, right? You evolve in what's going on in the SOC. Cybersecurity, great answer. What resources can we use to learn how to speak this language of cost of management? CISSP, one resource. Second resource, CISO. The second resource is that. Those are two. Dr. Eric Cole actually has a course as well, which is really good when he talks about wearing a CISO hat, right? And doing that. I've learned a lot of this stuff by learning from my managers and people around me and having these conversations through sales, right? Is having these conversations because these are the questions that I get asked, and then I have to justify and translate into solutions. And what does that mean for the organization? So having that managerial hat, you can do that. And I'm just actually thinking, also looking at mentorship. Look at senior management and security and have those discussions. Say, look, can I buy you a coffee? Can I go for lunch? I have one question or a couple of questions I want to ask you. Like, how do you deal with your budgets? How do you deal with, your programs? How do you manage your employees? How do you manage the department? And listen to the conversation on the business side. C-suite has a different conversation than management too. So if you can talk to people at C level, right? CISO, CIO, CTO, things like people along that line, they're going to have a different conversation, have a different viewpoint of the organization. So that's why Dr. Eric Cole is really good to talk to, because he's able to break down the managerial conversation and give you a little bit of the technical role and then combine them both. And then just look at how that collaborates in the conversation of working in cybersecurity. So that looked like the last question. So guys, thank you so much. This was awesome, right? And I'm loving answering you guys' questions in the chat. Thumbs up. Let me know what you thought. This was a good session. Did you guys get a lot from it? I hope you guys did, because it's awesome right now. I think I'm just kind of looking at what's coming on next. Give me a second here, guys. So yeah, so let me know, thumbs up. Let me know if you guys enjoyed today. You got a lot from this. I really want to make sure you got a lot of information. Neil's going to be on next. He's going to do an AMA on his side. So again, tonight's nothing but questions for you guys. Ask everything that you want, everything you want to learn, right? Get as much information, because and here's the thing for me. I want to see you guys excel. I want to see you guys go to that next level. I want to hear that, hey, I've watched your video. I did the things that you recommended. And you know what? I changed careers. I moved up. Now I'm in pen testing. Now I'm doing this. Like, I want to hear you guys excel. I want to hear you guys go to that next level. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. Make sure you get in the Discord channel, have a conversation after. Lots going on in the Discord channel. Lots happening in the cybersecurity community, and we're all here to support and make sure that everything's coming up. So Neil's coming up, I think in an hour. So you guys got a little bit of a bio break, grab some food, get some things, you're doing, get some paper, get a little bit of stretching going on, because I'm sure you guys are sitting. And then what I want you to do is come back at 8 Eastern Standard Time, which is in 1 hour. And then again, just connect, ask a lot of questions, and learn. I hope you guys, really excel when it comes to cybersecurity. And that's my goal when it comes to Daily Cyber, is to talk to you about the truth of what's going on with cybersecurity. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank, Sec IT guy. Thank you so much for moderating, helping the community, helping everyone out. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. You guys are going to excel. Please study, and let's get to that next level. So don't forget, software's hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next Daily Cyber.